Hello guys, in this video we are going to learn about model serializer and we will be creating APIs using API view and function based views using Django Rest Framework. In the earlier video we created APIs using hyperlink model serializer and Viewsets using class based views. So if you have not checked out this video, that video, would highly recommend to watch that video. Link is in the description. Okay, so let's get started. So let's go to models.py. Let's create our model here. Student. Okay, here models dot model. So student, let's have name. Name is equals to models dot char field. Max length is equals to 100. Let's have father's name as well. Okay, let's have age is equals to models dot integer field default is equals to 18. Let's have a string representation of this class, which is str method. So it will return self dot name. So this is our student class. Let's create a corresponding serializer. So from dot models import everything. So let's copy this. So let's go to model student. So we will be creating a student serializer. Serializers dot model serializer class meta. So whenever we create a serializer, we have to specify this class meta. In this, we have to specify the model for which we are creating the serializer, and we also need to specify the fields. So suppose if we want to specify all the fields except ID, then we can do one thing. We can have a exclude. So exclude is ID. So this is our student serializer. Now let's go to views. So let's import API view because we will be using API view to create a. So we will be basically creating four APIs: get all students, create student, delete student, and update student. Okay. So let's import our API view from REST framework.views. Import API view. Now we will be creating API get all students. Get students. So this is a API view. Let's have API view. Okay. We need to import API underscore view from REST framework.decorators. Import API underscore view. Now API view, this is a get request at line number 22. We have used this decorator, and so we have specified this get as a get. We can also have this post right? Like this. So let's first focus on this get request. Now get students, it will take the request parameter. We are we are basically creating a query set by using student.objects.all, and in the student serializer we are passing students and many is equals to true. At line number 26 we are returning the data, which is serializer.data. So response, we can import it from here. Quick fix. Okay, we need to import response from rest framework dot response. So line number 6 we are importing it from rest framework dot response, import response. So this is our get students API. Let's plug it into our URL, urls.py. So from views, import everything. In the path, we will have this get students. Like this. So get students is mapped to this function, get students, which is this one. Now let us create student API, which is of post. Okay. So we have to mention here post, create student. So we can delete line number 32. Now we need to specify data is equals to request dot data. Okay. So data is equals to request dot data. If we need to check if serializer is valid or not. So if serializer is not valid, then we need to basically return response with the errors, right? Response, here we need to specify errors. Okay, like this. If serializer is not valid, if it is valid, then we need to use serializer.save. In this way we will have our create student API. Let's plug it into our urls.py. Copy this. In the views.py we will have a create student. We can paste it here. Okay. Now let's have update student API. So in the update student API, instead of post we will have put. So this is update student. So it will also take one ID, right? Now we need to have our student from this ID. This is our student. Now in the student serializer, when we are updating, we need to pass student and partial is equals to true. So here we pass student, partial is equals to true. So partial is equals to true means basically we are, when we pass partial is equals to true, then basically we are using a patch request. So in patch request, we don't need to pass all the fields of the student. We can only pass those fields which needs to be changed. So that's why we use partial is equals to true. So at line number 43, we are basically checking if serializer is not valid. Then we are basically in the response, we are sending serializer dot errors. If it is valid, then we are basically doing serializer dot save and passing this serializer dot data in the response. So let's plug it into our urls.py. So update student copy here and let's paste it here. So if you notice, this update student is also taking ID as a parameter. So we need to specify here slash. In this way, we need to specify ID. So this is our update student API. Now let's have the delete student API. Okay, let's copy this. Instead of put, we need to pass delete. Now it will be a delete API, delete student. Line number 51, we are getting the student from this ID. Now what we need to do, basically we can have student.delete. If student, if student is not null, then we can do student.delete, right? And we can have this response with message student is deleted, like deleted successfully. In this way we will have this message. Now if student is null, then we need to send a response with this message that invalid student ID. Okay, in the similar fashion we can have here also, if student is equals to none, then we need to send this response which is invalid student ID. So this is our delete student API. Let's plug it into our urls.py. So this is delete student. So here we go. Now we can run our server and test all these APIs. Okay. So let's run our server. So here we go. Let's do Python manage.py make migrations before run server because we have created a student model. Then we need to do migrate. Then let's also create a super user so that we can log it into our admin panel. Admin. Okay, so this is already taken. So we have already created our super user. So let's run our server. Let's go to this port. So we have to go to student. So we can see student here, nothing is there. Users and groups. Okay. Users and groups. Get students, create a student. Let's have this as well. If we do get students, we are seeing empty data. Now let's have a create student API. So in the create student, we can create the students. Okay. So we need name, father's name, and age. Name, let's say Shiv. Father's name, let's have got. Age, let's have 20. Now if we want to post it, it will create a user. Okay, let's create another user with name Ganesh, father's name Shiv, is 23. Let's create it. Okay, now if you want to list all the users, get students. So we have this list of students. Okay, now if you want to get students, create a student, update a student with ID 1 or 2. Update a student with let's say ID 1, which is Shiv. Now we want to update the name. Name, let's say Ankit. So it will update the name to Ankit. Okay, so here you can see instead of Shiv, it is Ankit. And it's basically a patch request because we have only mentioned name, which is Ankit, so it has only updated the name. So if we go to get students, okay, student, get students, you can see here it is Ankit. Now let's have a delete student with the ID 1. Delete student with ID 1 method get. Okay, let's delete this. So it is deleted. Now again get list of all students. Now there is only one student. Okay, so all our APIs are working. get students, create student, update student, and delete student. Now let's register this student into our admin panel. So from dot models import everything. Now admin dot site dot register. Here we have student. Admin dot site dot register student. Now let's head over to our admin panel, which is from here. So username is admin, password is secretive. So as you can see, we have logged it into our admin panel, which is created by Django. So if we go to students, we have only one student. Let's add one more. Name Rahul, father's name Mohan, and age is 19. Save and add another. Name is Shubham, father's name is Shiv, and age is 25. Let's have save. So here we have three list of students. So this is our admin panel. We can add as many students as possible, and we can basically do all the CRUD operations in the admin panel. So that's it in this video. Here we have covered in this video we have covered admin panel, model serializers, and API view, and function based views for delete student, update student, create student, and get students. So I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.